Welcome to Seed to Life. I hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We just experienced an unimaginably terrible week that shook entire Texas. A cold wave from the Arctic brought a lot of snow to Texas last week, and that left many homes without power, water, and food for several days in the chilling temperature that went down to 2 degrees Fahrenheit, which is lower than minus 16 degrees Celsius. Those who know about the weather in Texas can understand how unusual this storm was. First of all, snow in Texas is a rare occurring, so people are not really prepared for such events. Overall, it was a difficult week for all of us and my garden too. So, in this video, I'm going to take you around in my garden and show you some before and after footage of my little backyard garden. I will show you how I tried to protect my plants in this deadly cold and what worked and what didn't. You'll be amazed to see how resilient nature is. So let's begin. Let's see the garden before the winter storm. Here is some water on the ground that froze overnight. You can clearly see that the plants are in distress. The temperature dropped down below zero at night and all these plants are looking stiffer because of the freeze. You can see here beetroot leaves are looking almost waxy. You can literally roll the leaves. They kind of feel rubbery to consistency. It is because they are frozen at this moment. When the temperature will rise after this week, they will thaw and then they may become mushy and the plants may not survive. I can either harvest the leaves now or wait and see what happens. At this time, I just know that an extremely cold stationary wave is here and a couple of snowstorms are going to follow it. The freezing temperatures will last for at least a week. Other plants like fava beans, carrots, kale, spinach and coriander are also affected by freeze. In comparison to the other plants, cabbage seedlings seem to be doing alright. On the other side, in raised beds, I have some more baby plants of kale, beetroots and turnips. I also have Chinese broccoli plants and I was waiting for the seeds to dry completely. But I guess now there is no point in waiting. I'm going to take out these seed pods and let them dry inside the house. If I leave them here, then once the temperature comes back to normal, the wet seeds will be ruined. After seeing my garden today, I am mentally prepared to lose some of these plants. I know I can't save them all. This is so unexpected in Texas. I could have prepared better if I started earlier but didn't expect the weather to get this bad. I was hoping to harvest some fresh winter vegetables, but maybe that is not happening this year. So what I am going to do is salvage whatever I can. I am going to harvest some turnips that even though are not completely ready, but still we can eat them. I am also going to harvest the fenugreek leaves that I am 100% sure will not last in this weather. Since these winter vegetables are in plastic containers, I will cover them up with lids. I hope they will stay safe. Coming onto the raised beds, I am just going to cover them up with whatever I have now. The bed with Brussels and kohlrabi, I am going to cover it with this weed cloth. I am going to use this plastic sheet to cover the turnips and garlic. I am going to leave the peas and Chinese kale and cilantro open since the sheet is not that big. The middle bed has some more turnips and I am going to leave them as they are. Let's see how they do in the winter. I am going to protect the fava bean plants with this cardboard box and then I have a warming poncho that I will use to cover up the plants. I am also planning to take some risks and leave some plants unprotected. I already have protected my other delicate big trees like moringa, neem and orange trees months ago for winter. You can watch my video on how to protect trees during winter in my previous video. I'll post the link in the description. It is freezing cold and hard to stay out for a long time, so now we can only wait and watch what happens. The snow has begun. This is still not a blizzard that Texas is going to face. This is pre-blizzard snow. Birds are so confused with this sudden change that they are flying crazily in huge numbers. Like Texas, even birds are not prepared. I put some rice out for them, but I'm not sure if they are hungry. They look so tired. It is hard for them to fly high up. They are just flying few feet above the ground. and they can't even stop and stay at one place because they are feeling cold, I guess. They are trying to stay warm by flying continuously. I have lived here for 6 years now, and this is the first time we are seeing so much snow. Typically, we get only few flurries of snow in a season, that too not every year. The snow has started filling up the beds, and we managed to make a tiny snowman. All good so far, not much worried about the plants at this point. This is the second day of snow. The first blizzard has already passed yesterday night, and it has dumped about 4 to 6 inches of snow. The temperature is several degrees below zero, and it is going to go down to 2 degrees Fahrenheit, that is lower than minus 60 degrees Celsius, in a couple of days. I'm worried about the plants, but so far the beautiful snow is still winning. I don't mind cold as long as we have power and water. Since we don't get snow often, I believe the pipes and electric wires are not winterized as much as they do in colder regions. I have lived in northeast part of the United States for more than a decade, and we lost power only once, and that experience was really nasty and not hoping to face that again. My rose bushes look like they have some white blooms on them. Our Frosty the snowman has lost his original shape and looks like a small hill. There are so many animal footprints all over the yard. I even saw a tiny mouse. I will leave him alone at this point, but afterwards that is something I will have to take care of. Not a good garden visitor. And then we lost power for 3 days. Not completely because they were planned outages. Even though Texas is a state, it has its own power grid. The grid was strained due to high demand, and we were getting power for about 15 minutes, followed by 45 minutes to 1 hour of outage. The rolling outages continued for the next 3 days, and they even got longer for some time, and they gradually faded and stopped completely. But the major problem we had was our pipes. Half of the house pipes were completely frozen, and hot water stopped coming in. The horrific news of pipes bursting were all over on social media and chat rooms. We were supposed to conserve energy and not use any appliances, so it was extremely hard to do the dishes with icy water and cook the food in dark. We were in constant fear that any time our pipes will burst and the water will start gushing in. The inner streets were still snow covered, so no one could drive, and it was very risky. Everything was so unusual for Texas. But then, nothing is usual about the years 2020 and 2021. I was going out every day to make sure that no pipes are burst outside. After 2 days, there was one more storm that added some more snow. Finally, the nightmare ended and sun came out. The temperature was below zero, but the beautiful sunshine was melting the snow fast. It didn't take more than a day for the snow to melt away completely. Now it is time for the big reveal. Now let's go out and check how the plants are doing. Brussels and cabbage are still doing okay, so they might survive. At the last minute, I had pulled in some containers of kohlrabi, fava beans, and spinach inside the garage, and they survived. Turnips really surprised me. I have turnips growing in 3 different beds. Before the storm, I harvested some which were almost ready, but then covered the rest with a plastic sheet. The other bed was left unprotected, and guess what happened? The one under the plastic sheet became all soft and mushy, and the plants that were unprotected, they were in the bed, they still have crispy leaves and recovering well. My guess is that when I protected the turnips, or maybe tried to protect the turnips with a plastic sheet, they got crushed because of the weight of the snow. I was more confident about the plants in containers, but surprisingly they are damaged. Beetroot, spinach, and carrots, and then cilantro are completely ruined. I removed the dead mushy leaves because I know they are not going to survive. When emptied this compost bin container in one of the raised beds, the soil was completely frozen. I think the water in the soil in these containers froze, and we know that ice occupies more space than water. The plastic container couldn't expand, and with the growing ice, it crushed the roots. Let me know if you think differently. Coming on to the big trees. So far, fortunately, my trees, moringa, neem tree, orange tree, and all pomegranate trees are doing fine. The other trees are in the safety of garage, so they were better protected. So overall, I was successful in saving many of my plants and trees. In just 2 days after the storm, temperature went up to mid 60s and then 70s. That is how crazy weather is here. I'm hoping that no more such drastic changes will happen now. Along with many of my tiny indoor seedlings, I'm eagerly waiting for the spring. I made this video to share my experience of this storm. During this difficult time, life was still easier for me compared to many others. I salute to farmers throughout the world who have to face such unpredictability on the daily basis. I can only imagine the amount of stress they have to take so that we get food in our plates. A big salute to them. A big thanks to you for watching my videos and supporting my channel Seed to Life. Please click subscribe for more such videos and updates. Click the bell icon to get notified about future videos, and feel free to reach out to me through comments, Facebook, Twitter or Instagram if you have any questions. I am posting the links in the description. I would love to hear your suggestions and would like to know the news of your garden. Happy gardening. Thank you again. See you soon.